Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Fix of Action Reviews coming at you again with another video. And this time we're going over Sam Wilson, Captain America, the Falcon, Captain America in both versions. And I picked these up, and as you could tell, I picked this one up a while earlier, and I picked this one up recently. Both were from Target, and normally I don't collect the MCU line. I really don't, because I don't think the figures look that good, and that's just a personal opinion for me. I tend to stick more with the comic aligned figures because I just like them more. I like the comic figures better. The MCU figures from Marvel Legends just haven't flattered me at all, and they really haven't influenced me to buy them. If I have bought MCU line figures, it's because I either kit bash them or I find some other use for them. Like I honestly don't really pick them up that much because, like I said, they don't look that good to me, and they just don't do well. And Ollie's is a big example of MCU line figures ending up in the discount stores. Now, you do have some figures, some MCU figures that, like Spider-Man. I mean, because people like Tom Holland, people like Anthony Garfield, and people like Tobey Maguire, they like picking up. They like those people, so they're gonna pick up those characters regardless. You know what I'm saying? I don't have an Anthony Mackie figure, and so one of my excuses to pick this up was that I get an Anthony Mackie figure out of it. I get a figure that has Anthony Mackie's face on it. But one of the biggest reasons why I bought this is because I felt duped. I really did feel duped. And I don't like having to spend extra money to get the things that I think should have already been in the original package. That's one of the things that really grinds my gears with Hasbro and with the Marvel Legends line and the team, is that they will come out with a figure and it'll look good and it'll look decent, and then they'll come out with another figure and it's the same character and they'll give it more features or either a better design. And that to me was like, that was killer when it comes to this, because we're going to take these figures out and we're going to examine them. From the packaging alone, you can tell that this Sam Wilson has a more beefier body than this one does. And I like the helmet that comes with for like the high altitude flights. But at the same time, I like the overall costume of this Captain America, the comic version of Sam Wilson, Captain America. The shield looks a lot better too. It's just flashier, man. This shield is much flashier. But one thing, the biggest thing that influenced me to buy this MCU line figure was that I saw that the wings on this figure, which have a lot more articulation than the wings in this version, can actually fit this guy. So that was a big influence for me to pick up this one, because it was like, you know what? Like I said, one of my excuses is I get an Anthony Mackie figure out of it. The second excuse is that I get to transfer these wings over to him. And that's exactly what I plan to do with him. And let's get it cut open. And there you have it. There you have it. I mean, you can literally see the difference in the wings. It's a night and day difference. These wings right here look totally wonky. They just look ridiculous. I mean, I know they meant to be comic accurate and all that and design it off of the comics, but they put so much detail into these wings that it's crazy that they didn't do the same thing for these wings. I mean, look at it like this. These figures did not, both of these figures, they did not come out at like years apart or a extended period of time apart from each other. It was literally like a month or two that these figures were basically announced from each other. So I mean, while they were bringing this figure out, they were actually in the middle of producing this figure, because they were already getting ready for the movie to come out. And once the movie was announced, these figures were already in the work getting ready for distribution across the stores. So if they already had these two figures planned out and were bringing them out, I don't understand why the Marvel Legends team didn't put enough effort into these wings as they did those wings. Maybe they are running the age-old strategy. Yeah, look, we'll make these wings able to go on this body, but we won't give this body those type wings, because guess what? The people who buy these figures are probably going to figure out that they don't like these wings as much as they do them, which will force them to buy him, or at least buy the wings off the secondary market. And honestly, if you go on eBay and look up to see how much these wings cost, you might as well just go ahead and buy the entire figure if you find it in Target, because the people on the secondary market are charging just as much for these wings alone as you would to pay for the entire figure. And look, and my fingers fell over. That's just the power in my fingertips, yo. The power in my fingertips. Figures can't even the figures can't even stand it. They don't call me figures of action for nothing. Don't you forget that. Don't you forget it. Stand up, Mackie. You're gonna need some help. All right, cool. But yeah, like I'm saying, maybe they did it as a strategic ploy to get us to buy both figures, so that if they, we wanted to replace the wings of this one for this one, that we have no choice but to buy the MCU figure in order to get the wings to put on here. Let's see how that works out. Because apparently it was said that these wings will fit on there with no problem. And what do you freaking know? They fit on this dude with no problem whatsoever. And they look awesome. This is crazy, man. This is crazy work. This is crazy work right here. Not only do the wings look good for the figure because of the costume colors, but I mean, come on, man. Like, seriously, we couldn't have this. They could. You mean to tell us the Marvel Legends team couldn't give us this, but they gave us these, which also fit on the Mackie figure. I'm telling you, man, Hasbro be scamming, man. Hasbro be scamming, and the Marvel Legends team be leading the pack too. Like, don't get me wrong, G.I. Joe got some things going on with them too. Star Wars, definitely. I'm gonna get into a Star Wars film. Why I don't collect Star Wars the Black Series figures? I'm gonna let y'all know straight up and down. They scamming y'all, boy. Y'all Star Wars fans, y'all getting the stick. Y'all getting the raw end of the stick too, and they beating you with it. And they could do better for y'all. But anyway, back to this one. This is what we could have had, bro. This is what we could have had. Even if they wanted to make the wings red like they are in the comic, they still could have gave us the articulation of the MCU line wings that they gave the Anthony Mackie figure. But I ended up buying both of them. And like I said, my excuse, one is so I can have an Anthony Mackie figure. And the second excuse is so I can actually swap the wings out for what I really wanted. Which is crazy that I had to buy both figures to get what I really want, to merge the two together to get the figure that I actually deserved the first time for paying for one figure. Hasbro, either you scamming us or you haven't figured out how to actually get your figures together. But either way, I will say that the Anthony Mackie MCU Sam Wilson fan, the figure looks all right. It looks okay. But I much rather prefer the comic version, man. I think that figure looks really good. Let's open them up. You know what I'm saying? We can't just leave them like that and not show them why we like them. Look at that, man. Look at it. Got the buff body. I like the whites, the blues, and the reds. They it's like it goes in sync better. I just like this figure a lot better. I think it just stands out more. I'm definitely going to be using this figure more so than my Anthony Mackie figure. Matter of fact, I'm not even switching the wings back. I'm going to keep the MCU version exactly how it is with these wings and probably put it up on the wall or something. And I'm going to keep this guy out just so I can, take pictures with him and do photos and things of that nature. But you know what, you guys. All right, guys, we're going to get into this articulation phase. As you can see, we got both of the figures side by side. And as I said what I said. The white on blue with red goes a lot harder than the blue on white and red. Oh, he fell over. All right. Oh. Now, with that being said, I do like this comic version better. I like the look and design of it better. However, there are some iffy points about it. There are some really iffy points. And honestly, this Anthony Mackie MCU version doesn't look that bad. I mean, as I said, the comic version is a lot buffer. There's more muscle mass into the arms, into the into the legs than there is on the MCU version. And I get it. There's two different designs. We're going off somebody who's the person who's playing the character in real life versus the character in the comic, which there's a lot more leeway to play around with. But here's something that I did notice, like with this belt right here, it kind of gets in there. It gets in there. It's not kind of, there's no kind of in it. It gets in the way of the articulation. Unlike the belt on this one, which if you want to do a high side kick, you can. Sam Wilson can actually get a high side kick on this one. So, you know, you do have that front. You have that front kick. And you have the switch angle. And you have the ability to get a high side kick. You know. Now, let's check that out on the comic version. Whereas this belt right here is so thick. And it's not even just a belt, because when you twist the figure sideways, you can see right here, it's actually a part of the lower base of the figure. It's part of it's built onto the figure itself. It's not just a single belt. It's actually a whole centerpiece. So it's gonna get in the way of you getting that leg raised only to right here. So you only get a front fist, you know, a front facing kick only so high. It's kind of like if you're kicking in the door, there you are, you get that. However, what you don't get is, look how gummy the leg gets when you start moving it. It starts bending right away, even down here. So you can't even pivot at the bottom without bending this part of the joint. So in all actuality, you only get a mid-range, like a mid-side kick. You don't get a high kick with this one. And at the jeopardy of bending the knee joint at that, trying to get that side kick, because these pouches go down, and they right in here is where they meet with the thigh, and so it blocks it from getting any extra articulation. And I wish they did better with that. I mean, I don't know why they did a whole centerpiece right here. They didn't have to do that. They could have made a movable belt the same way they did with this one. The belt moves. It's not the actual part of the figure itself. It's just there. You know, the figure itself is already just, you can barely see that waistline that's there. You can barely see it. But for some reason, they went and made this entire belt piece one centerpiece. This is why I get mad at the Marvel Legends team, because when they design figures, it's no different than the McFarlane line. When the McFarlane line does a figure and they bring it out and it has these flaws in it. And I honestly think Todd does it on purpose, which I'm starting to think that the Marvel Legends team does it on purpose too. That they bring out these figures and they have these flaws with them, or you know, they know that collectors aren't going to be super happy with them, which gives them room to bring out the character again and then say, we perfected the character. Maximum Spider-Man with 18 to 19 pieces that they threatening to charge between $45 and $60 for, whatever. All right, enough of that. But yeah, so I do find a problem with that. I don't like that. I think that practice is kind of I don't like it. I think it's kind of shady. You know, it's like you give us imperfect figures on purpose just so you can sell us the same figure again months down the road and say, oh, you remember how you didn't like this? We fixed that. It's the same figure, but we fixed the parts you don't like. Well, you could have did that the first time and we could have had a better figure. But if you do that, it's kind of like the people who with the light bulb industry. They have a light bulb that can last years and years and years. However, they won't make it, because if they do put it on the market, you only buy one light bulb one time, and then all of a sudden you wouldn't be buying as many light bulbs. You know what I'm saying? So they restrict you from having the higher quality product for a reason. And I'm really thinking that's what the Marvel Legends team does sometimes. They design these figures and have these shortcomings on the figure just so they can sell you the same figure down the road a couple of months from now and then say, hey, look at this, you know, you got a better figure. I will say though, I like the design. I just hate the limited range on the legs. I'm not in love with the design whatsoever. It's okay, but it gets better articulation than the figure I actually like, which is crazy. I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too. How you feel? This is Figures of Action Reviews, and I'm signing out. Peace.